Okay, everybody, welcome out to the live stream. So, today we're going to be talking about procrastination. Procrastination isn't a time problem, it's a feeling problem, which most advice that you will hear out there completely avoids. They always try to fix the time problem, looking at your calendar, try to be better with time management, but understand that procrastination, which we're about to delve into, is really coming from psychology and emotion. The definition of psychology, well, definition of procrastination is the voluntary delay of an intended action despite knowing you will be worse off. You know that what you're about to do isn't going to make you any fucking progress, but yet you do it anyway. So I've been working on this for a little bit. I've got some notes that we are going to run through, and I'm hoping that being able to speak it out and articulate it is going to allow me to be able to really understand it a little deeper, because I think we all suffer with it at some point. But then also I'm hoping you guys mainly take something away. The people that I work with absolutely struggle with this. For those of you who are new to the channel, don't know who I am, my name is Abi Khan. I am a certified personal trainer and nutritionist. I have been doing this for over 15 years now. And I am also an aspiring actor. But until Hollywood comes calling, I'm talking to you guys for free. But hopefully someday I can get paid for this. So there's two core scientific principles or reasons that I want to go through in regards to procrastination. The first one is going to be largely emotional. We behave in a way that makes us feel good now. If you know you've got a task at hand or something that you know you need to do, let's use studying for an exam, because at some point we will all have to study for some kind of an exam or an interview. We want to feel good now. We want to do something that's going to make us feel good in the moment. And that could be something as simple as going playing with your pet, going for a walk, loading up your favorite game and jumping on Twitch and just start playing a game for some ungodly fucking reason. But we want to do something that's going to give an instant dopamine hit, because the thing that we want to do isn't going to make us feel good. We know that we are simultaneously trying to drive towards pleasure and away from pain. And away from pain really is avoiding a negative emotion. Now, that negative emotion could be boredom, it could be fear, it could be anxiety, it could be something that is so simple as I just really don't want to do this right now. And to kind of sum it up is we're looking for short-term comfort. We're looking for short-term comfort over long-term gain, knowing that we need to pass the exam because it's going to get us into the university we want to get into, that it's going to give us the job that we want to have. We already know that. We're not stupid. But for some reason, we want to still go and do something that isn't going to drive us towards that. And for a multitude of reasons, or there's a multitude of examples why we would do that, which we're going to delve into. But the second one, the core scientific reason, is going to be heavily psychological. You've got a limited executive function. Now, what does that mean? Really, it just means that your executive control is weak. Your ability to be able to make decisions in the moment is weak. So what you then do is you go to the next easiest thing, going for a walk, playing with your dog. Oh, I might need to take a shower. I had a shower a couple of hours ago, but I might need to go take another one because dust has gone on my arm. Sometimes you might even want to go whack off, which sounds absolutely fucking ridiculous, but there are several studies that have suggested that going off and doing something in the shower, in your bedroom, or into a sock is going to contribute to the avoiding of doing something, which is fucking bizarre, but it happens. So your control is weak. And that might come down to you have a lack of ability to make decisions in the moment, that you are fatigued, that you are tired, that you've had a big long day, and the very thought of just sitting down and actually studying is the worst fucking thing in the world to you. So what you do instead is anything but. You'll do anything but what you know you need to do. Sometimes that even includes doing things that you know you don't quite like. It's like, oh shit, man, do the dishes need washing again? Do I need to go restart the dishwasher? Do I need to empty the dishwasher? We make up so much random shit in our brain, which really does lead to an increased level of procrastination. The more weakened your state is, again, whether it's tired, fatigued, you've had a long day, you've slept, you haven't had correct nutrition that day, you've not perhaps got outside, had some fresh air or some vitamin D that day, you're not hydrated. Again, the list really does go on. You will increase your levels of procrastinating. And if those levels get up to a certain point, and it might only be a smidgen or it might have to go quite higher, you will then go and err towards doing something completely fucking random and that you really shouldn't do because your brain struggles to execute in the moment, which is a skill set. Really, the pattern looks something like this. We recognize a difficult task. We feel a negative motion of like, I really don't want to do that. Again, using the study example, I really don't want to sit down and read this really long textbook on mitochondrial density and why it matters for overall aerobic capacity. Then what we will do is move on to something easier. Again, going into the shower and whacking off, which is much easier than reading the textbook. We get this temporary relief in the moment. We're like, this feels good for a minute. But then later on, which could be half an hour later or an hour later, we are stricken with guilt of like, fuck, I know I shouldn't do that. And then we repeat the cycle anyway, which is absolutely insane. So what we're going to do here is we're going to figure this out and give you some really practical tips on doing that. And I think really the best way of being able to do this is leaning to high achievers. What are the people that are achieving this success that we want at the highest level? What are they doing and how can we learn from them and how can we learn these patterns? And it comes down really to three distinctive pillars. Clarity plus momentum plus identity equals action. What do I mean by that? If we're looking at these in steps, step one is going to be clarity and outcome. And that's going to be largely identity driven. When you speak with someone who perhaps doesn't drink, you go out on a night out with that particular person, you're with a group of friends, say 10 friends, and you're going around, what do you want? My round, my shout, what does everybody want? You get other drink orders. The person that doesn't drink, you don't even have to ask because you know that that person isn't someone who drinks. And if you were to ask them, immediately, without even a thought, it would be, I don't drink. Say with someone who goes to the gym, it's, what are you doing today? Well, it's a leg day today. I'm obviously going to the gym today. It's never even a thought because they have been able to create and adopt an identity that has those goals or those pursuits. They've got something that's stronger than having the drink or skipping the gym. So this is what we mean by having this clarity or this identity. Who am I? What do I want? What actions am I going to take in order to be able to become the person that I want? And that's really going to come around identity, which is long-term behavioral change. It is going to take some time. And really, that's just small, seemingly frequent habits that you're like, oh God, is this even worth it? Is eating this food consistently worth it? Is hydrating worth it? Is working out worth it? Over time, it becomes an identity. And then at some point, it is inevitable. You don't ever think twice. You're like, well, of course, I'm going to do that. The next one is that high achievers will pick the lowest hanging fruit. Everybody gets unmotivated. I'm sure even Elon Musk looks at tasks and goes, fuck that. That is the last thing that I want to do in the world. But he knows he needs to do it because he's trying to put us on Mars. And I'm up for that. So lowest hanging fruit. What do we do with that? That could be something really as simple as if you are writing a book or you are writing a blog, for example, just write one line. That's it. That's as simple as it needs to be. Just write one line and you will find that because you've just sat down, you start to get into the creative process of things, your mind will start to switch and you will start to think a little differently. Instead of being avoidant, you start to realize, oh, I enjoy this. This is the task that I know I need to do. And I'm actually enjoying this little process here because it's so simple. We've made it so simple that you can't fuck it up. It's like when you try and get somebody on a new diet. You want to make it so simple that they can't fuck it up because the whole point is actually being able to follow through with that diet in this example. And if they don't follow it, then they're not going to get the result that they want. But if you make it so easy, it's very, very simple. And that could be as simple as get in the car. Get your gym clothes on, just get in the car. You don't have to drive anywhere, but you've got your gym clothes on, you've made some effort, you've sat in the car, turn the car on, you're like, okay, now what? It's very unlikely you're going to turn the car off and go back in the house. But the likelihood is that you've locked the door, you've turned all the lights off, you've put the dog out, you may just go and go to the gym. And the whole reason this works really well is that it's got a low emotional cost. If you look at the first core scientific principle, the emotion that we want to feel is this short-term dopamine hit. the short term. I want to feel good in this moment. But because the cost of emotion is so, so low with doing such a simple task, it increases the likelihood we're going to follow through. And then step three really is a habit loop, it is a habitual loop that we want to create. And that habitual loop comes from small daily tasks. And it could be something, if I was to use an example, as brushing your teeth. You know that brushing your teeth when you're young could be a pain in the ass because you don't want to do it. You're a kid, you want to mess around, you want to go to jump on the bed, you do anything but the more you get forced to do it, and that's what it is to start with. If you've got young kids and you know that sometimes you just have to force them to do it, but you know that this will result in them making this habitual. And once it's habitual, every night without fail, it is, well, of course, I need to brush my teeth before I go to bed, regardless of what order I do things in previously, whether it's dinner then shower or shower then dinner. It's always a case of, well, I need to go brush my teeth. And that is the habitual like nature, which does take time. It takes time to be able to build the habit. There's the old adage of like 21 days to be able to break a habit. But I think really it takes about 66 days to instill a new habit. Instilling a new habit takes a long fucking time. Okay. It is a behavioral change. I need to be able to, if I'm using me as an example, I need to be able to do a certain thing for a long enough period of time so that my brain registers, okay, this is what you need to do today. You need to get up every morning, go to the bathroom and stand on the scale so I can get an accurate reading of what your daily scale weight is. Some days I'm going to miss it. Other days I'm going to do it. But over time, because I'm forcing myself to do it, it becomes that little bit easier. And generally, because the very thought of it takes way longer than you think, a lot of people are so avoidant in actually being able to do it. Like, well, I don't want to do that. I want to go do this short-term little task, this little comforting task, whether it's stacking the dishwasher again. Oh, I'm just going to make a little snack. I feel a little bit hungry, even though I ate 20 minutes ago. Whatever bullshit reason that we can come up with, we will come up with it because we are trying to avoid discomfort. We don't want to do the fucking thing. So habitual loop. High achievers, we're looking at step one, clarity, gaining complete clarity on what the fuck you want to do. What is the outcome that I want? Then I will start with the lowest hanging fruit. If we're using the study example, I know what I need to do. I need to study this particular piece of text, which is mitochondrial density. What do I want to do? In terms of lowest hanging fruit, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to have a cup of coffee next to me, and I'm going to read one paragraph, then I'm going to close the book. That's my lowest hanging fruit. Chances are, because you've already got set up, you've read the first paragraph, like your brain starts to think about something, that you may even open that book up and continue on. And because you've continued on, that's where we start to develop a new behavior. I made a choice in the moment that I want to create a new behavior. Whenever I don't feel like doing something, I sit my ass down, have a cup of coffee, I open the book up and I read one paragraph and one paragraph only. After that paragraph, I can see what happens next. But if I force myself to be able to reopen that book, now it starts to become a little bit habitual. Because as I mentioned earlier, if procrastination was a time problem, we would solve it with schedules. We would look at your calendar and we would start to change things. But it's not. It is an emotional problem, which means really that we need our brain to be rewired, which can absolutely be done. And schedules is definitely an efficient way to be able to help rewire the brain. If I know that, for example, every morning I need to get up at 6 a.m. to get to the gym by 6:45 to be able to start working out really by 7 a.m. after I've warmed up. And I know that I'm not doing that. Me building that into my schedule and saying, hey, this is what you do at this time. Nothing else exists but this. I may hit this. I may hit it one day out of the 7. And then next week I might hit it 2. The following week I might hit it 1 again. The following week I might hit it 3. But over time, I will start to get better and better at that. So it's definitely a tool that we can be able to use, but we really need to understand brain to be rewired. And the final kind of thought, the kind of final nail in the coffin here is it is architectural reconstruction. We need to change the architecture of our thought processes, of how our behaviors, of our actions in order to be able to recreate how we think about procrastination. And knowing that the more actions that we take in order to cast votes, as James Clear says in Atomic Habits, to cast votes for the person that we want to become, the more likely that we are to become that person. Look at that, 15 minutes. Hope you all enjoyed. If there's any questions, please leave them below. I want to keep delving into things like this because I think they help the hell of a lot of people, myself included. And it really allows us to be able to get different perspectives too, whether you agree or disagree. I'm hoping that together we can kind of sift through some of the bullshit that we keep telling ourselves, again, myself included. It took me fucking ages to do this, by the way. It took me ages because I was procrastinating doing 500 different things, and it's 1 p.m. On a Sunday. So I'm hoping that I can help you as much as you can help me. Until next time.